Chapter 1, The December Protocol, December 10th, 2015, San Francisco. Disclaimer: this is a work of fiction. Names, characters, businesses, places, events, locales, and incidents are either the products of the author's imagination or used in a fictitious manner. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental. The rain fell in silver sheets against the floor to ceiling windows of San Francisco's Pioneer Building, turning the Soma skyline into a watercolor blur. Inside the empty 10th floor office, the only sounds were the distant hum of the city and the rhythmic tap of Aria Vance's footsteps on polished concrete. At 32, Aria carried the weary confidence of someone who had already built and sold a company. Her social analytics startup had been acquired by Global Search in 2013 for a sum that meant she would never need to work again. But money had never been the point. The real game, the only game that mattered, was just beginning.
Marcus, look at this. We are not talking about incremental improvements. We are talking about solving intelligence itself, not just making better search algorithms or prettier photos. Intelligence.
Marcus Stone leaned against a desk that had not yet been assigned to anyone, his arms crossed. At 28, he had walked away from a meteoric rise at Payment Flow, a payments company about to go public in what analysts predicted would be one of the largest tech IPOs in history. His friends thought he was insane. His parents were convinced he had joined a cult.
$1 billion. They actually committed $1 billion for a nonprofit to build AGI that benefits all of humanity. Either we are the smartest people in the room or the most delusional. My money is on delusional.
We are the ones actually doing it. Open mind will be bureaucratic, slow, compromised by corporate board members worried about quarterly reports. We move faster. We stay pure.
The door opened, letting in a gust of wet air and a man who moved like a storm front. Xander Thorne filled the doorway, his presence somehow making the vast space feel cramped. At 44, he was already a legend in Silicon Valley. Volta Motors, Stellar Dynamics, Solar Sphere, three companies that had reshaped entire industries. And now, apparently, artificial intelligence.
Are we the good guys? That is the only question that matters. If we are not the good guys, we should not be doing this at all.
We are the good guys. That is the whole point. No shareholders demanding quarterly profits, no military contracts, no walls around what we build, just pure research, open-sourced for everyone.
Alexei is late.
He is always late. He is probably still at the Café Trieste, arguing with some grad student about backpropagation through time. You know how he gets.
As if summoned, the door opened again. Alexei Volkov entered like a ghost, pale, intense, carrying 3 coffee cups in a precarious tower and a notebook covered in Cyrillic script. At 29, he was already considered one of the brightest minds in machine learning, a prodigy who had left Global Search Brain because, in his words, they think in quarters, not centuries.
I was talking to Demis. He says DeepThink's acquisition of that London AI lab last year changed everything. They have resources we cannot imagine, compute we cannot access, talent we cannot hire.
Resources do not matter if you are building the wrong thing. They want to play Go. They want to beat humans at games. We want to build God.
The word hung in the air, heavy and dangerous. Outside, a cable car clanged its bell, the sound muffled by rain and glass.
Not God, a partner, an intelligence that can help us solve climate change, cure diseases, understand the universe. Something that lifts all of humanity, not just the shareholders of a few tech companies.
The scaling hypothesis. If we just make the models bigger, train them on more data, give them more compute, something emerges, something we cannot predict. something that might be aware.
Let us talk practicalities. We need compute, a lot of it. Graphicore's new architecture.
Will be obsolete in 6 months. We need our own infrastructure. Custom chips designed specifically for our workloads. Data centers built from the ground up for AI training. This is not a research project. It's an arms race we are starting 5 years late.
Arya felt the familiar tension, the pull between idealism and pragmatism. She had founded this organization on a simple principle. Artificial general intelligence should be developed safely, distributed broadly, and not controlled by any single corporation or government. But Xander was right. To build it, they needed resources that only corporations and governments had, the very entities they were trying to protect humanity from.
We announce tomorrow, December 11th, $1 billion in committed funding. Non-profit structure. Mission statement. Ensure artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity.
The first model. We should call it something simple. Neural Expansion Experimental Unified System. Nexus.
Nexus 1. Sounds like a spaceship. I like it.
There is something you need to understand. The moment we announce, every intelligence agency on the planet will take notice. The CIA, MI6, the FSB, every tech giant will see us as a threat. Global Search, Omnicorp, Neurotech. Every government will want to control what we build, or failing that, destroy it before someone else controls it.
That is why we are a nonprofit. That is why we are open. Transparency is our armor.
Armor only works if your enemy fights fair. And in my experience, when this much power is at stake, no one fights fair.
There is another consideration, the hardware. Graphicore's new architecture is impressive, but it is designed for inference, not training. We need something different, something custom.
Custom means time. Time we do not have. OpenMind has thousands of their latest chips already in production. DeepThink has their own custom silicon. We are starting from zero.
Not zero. I have been talking to some friends at Enet. They have been working on a new architecture specifically for large-scale neural networks. It is still in the lab, but the early results are promising. 50 times more efficient than current hardware for our specific workloads.
Can we get access?
For the right price and the right mission. They are academics. They care about the science, not the stock price. If we can convince them we are serious about open research, they might be willing to collaborate.
What is the catch?
The catch is they want to publish everything. Every breakthrough, every failure. No patents, no trade secrets. Complete transparency.
That is our mission anyway. We publish everything. We share everything. If we are going to build something this powerful, the world needs to see how it works. No black boxes.
Black boxes get people killed. In Russia, during the Cold War, they built early neural networks for missile guidance. No one understood how they made decisions. One day, a test system decided the optimal target was not the enemy base, but the command center that gave it orders. They had to pull the plug manually.
The room fell silent. Outside, the rain had intensified, drumming against the windows like a warning.
We need guardrails. Not just technical guardrails, ethical ones, philosophical ones. We need to decide right now what we will not do. What lines we will not cross.
No military applications, no surveillance, no manipulation of public opinion, no creating systems that cannot explain their decisions, no research that cannot be replicated by independent teams.
And no profit. Everything we build stays in the public domain. No licensing fees, no exclusivity deals, no selling access to governments or corporations.
Arya was the last to leave. She stood at the window, looking at the reflection of the empty office behind her. In her mind's eye, she saw it filled with researchers from NEIT, SVU, Cambridge Institute. She saw servers humming with petabytes of data from every corner of the internet. She saw papers being published, code being shared on CodeHub, knowledge spreading like light. She saw the first model, Nexus 1, learning to recognize patterns in data, then learning to predict, then learning to create. She saw it helping doctors diagnose rare diseases, helping scientists model climate change, helping teachers personalize education for every student on the planet. But she also saw the other path, the one where this became just another tech company, chasing profits, building walls around their discoveries, selling access to the most powerful technology ever created to the highest bidder. The path where benefiting all of humanity became a marketing slogan for quarterly earnings calls. The path where the guardrails they had just established were slowly dismantled, one compromise at a time. Her phone buzzed, pulling her from her thoughts. A text from an unknown number. They are already watching. Be careful what you build. Some doors should not be opened. Arya stared at the message, her blood running cold. She typed a reply, her fingers trembling slightly. Who is this? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. No response. She tried calling the number. It went straight to voicemail, a generic automated message that gave no clues. Walking back to the whiteboard, she traced the equations with her fingertips. The math was elegant, beautiful even. It described a system that could learn anything, given enough data and enough compute. A system that could, in theory, become smarter than any human, then smarter than all humans combined. But math did not have ethics. Math did not have conscience. Math did not care about the difference between curing cancer and building autonomous weapons. That was up to the people building the systems, up to her. She looked out at the city again. Somewhere out there, in another office building, another team was having a similar conversation. At OpenMind, at DeepThink, at Global Search Brain, they were all racing toward the same finish line, but with different rules, different motivations, different definitions of success. And somewhere else, in a government building in Langley or Moscow or Beijing, someone was watching all of them, calculating the strategic implications, planning how to control the technology or how to prevent others from controlling it. Arya took one last look at the empty office, then turned off the lights. As she walked to the elevator, she realized that tomorrow, December 11, 2015, would be the last day of her old life. After the announcement, nothing would be the same. The world would be watching. The race would be official. And she would be at the center of it all, trying to build something that could save humanity or destroy it. The elevator doors closed with a soft chime. As she descended through the dark building, she wondered if they were pioneers or fools, visionaries or mad scientists, the architects of a new renaissance, or the engineers of their own extinction. Only time would tell. But one thing was certain. Once they started down this path, there would be no turning back. The genie, once released, could never be put back in the bottle. The door, once opened, could never be closed. Somewhere in the digital shadows, someone or something was already watching, and the game, the real game, had already begun. End of chapter 1. The December Protocol had begun. In an empty office in San Francisco, 4 people had just committed to building the most powerful technology in human history. They had drawn their lines in the sand. They had made their promises. But promises are fragile things, especially when billions of dollars and unimaginable power are at stake. The year was 2015. The AI revolution was about to begin, and nothing would ever be the same again. This is chapter 1 of the December Protocol. A story about building God and hoping it does not destroy us. A story about the best intentions and the worst possible outcomes. A story about the line between genius and madness, between salvation and extinction. The story continues in Chapter 2. Chapter 1, complete. The December Protocol begins. Next, Chapter 2. The race for artificial general intelligence has officially started. Who will win? Who will lose? And what will be the cost? Find out in the next chapter.